Hello, hello, check. I would like to welcome you all to this School Education Sector Plan Joint Review Meeting, the Day 3 discussion session. I would like to request the Joint Secretary of the Planning and Monitoring Division of the Ministry, respected Siva Kumar Sapkota sir, to chair this session. Thank you, sir. Similarly, I'd like to request Anuk Vanek, the Development Partner Focal Point, to co-chair this morning session. Thank you. Respected Director General from CHRD, DDG sir from CHRD, Development Partner Co-Focal Point, and other delegates from the ministry system, different central level agencies, different joint financing partners, development partners, UN agencies, and other valued delegates who represent different academic and research institutions, different levels of government. I'd like to request you all to have a seat. And I would like to highlight the main agenda for today's discussion session. We will start with a very brief sharing of the consolidated summary of Day 2 by Bhakta sir, and that will be followed by a discussion. That discussion will focus on the key points, the major points that were raised in Day 1 and Day 2 discussion sessions, and the points for concern for everyone. And after that, after the discussion, probably we'll wrap up this morning session, and our focus will go to the direction of concretizing the ideas and drafting of the aid memoir. With this background, with the permission of the chair, I would like to request Bhakta Godar sir, Director of CHRD, IMI section, to present the consolidated summary of Day 2 discussion which we had in CHRD yesterday. Bhakta sir, please, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Respected chair, co-chair, respected DDGs, and all the respected delegates. Here, I am going to make a short recap of the second day's activities. Please. Okay. Yes. At the morning session, we started chairing the Director General Anaprasad Neopane, and co-chaired by DP Focal Anuk Vanek. And after that, a brief welcome remarks was made by the chair, highlighting the some key points of the activities to be done the whole day. And then Madhu Ghimire presented first day's recap. And before entering the main session, Joint Secretary Siva Kumar Sapkota sir briefly presented some points that he explained how to organize the whole day's program, connecting it to the first day's activities. And then after the session moved to the progress sharing session. And there were altogether 11 presentations there. And after immediately its presentation, concerned organizations, head or officials responded the queries raised there. Here, this is the first presentation related to environment, social safeguard, and school safety compliance report. Here, highlights of that presentation and highlights some issues and challenges is given here. The highlights points were update of policy documents that were draft or final draft, and Girls and Inclusive Education Network GIEN update, compliance status of comprehensive school safety, compliance status of green schools. And the challenges highlighted there were resource gap, coordination among federal to local levels, and effective implementations, and report mechanism. Now move to the next slide. Yes, and after that, the field experience was presented by Nilkantha sir. That was made by joint field visit that were federal, provincial, local level, and local level personalities, and JPS and DPs. And that was that field visit was made in two districts, Rupandai and Kaski, and there are some good practices highlighted there. And in Rupandai districts, they highlighted decorated child-friendly classrooms, well-equipped labs, skill-based learning, quality was facility, digital learning like smart board, high community trust, midday meal farming. These were the observations that were in Rupandai districts. And in Kaski district, full incentive support of SMC, active PTA, child clubs, parents meeting, students award programs, in terminal exams, dedicated teacher, head teacher, clear work division, equipped computer lab, attractive school environment, child-centered classroom, etc. And in that district, some issues were there. First one is the insufficient playground in one school, and disability screening needs in another school. And local level education practices, these points are highlighted there. Status of local level planning, that is to be initiated, draft or approved in 4 provinces. And provinces wise status report was given there, and that were not initiated, draft initiated, approved, or approved and uploaded in website. And next reflection was made by local levels governments, province level government, and local level, and EDCU. First one was presented by Masapusre Rural Municipality. The highlighted points are where status of rural municipality, investment in education, that was 4.8% in total budget. Program and budget implemented status, local level plan approved, and internet available in all schools. And challenges seem highlighted there, where subject teacher, subject-wise teacher in all level, school merger, decreasing student number, school physical facilities, and managing CLCs effectively. And another presentation from Bagmati province. The highlighted points were working areas of social development ministry, organizational structure, policy and laws, major plans and program implemented there. And key programs were skill education program, skill-based training, short-term and long-term, projects related to senior citizens, promotion of moral education, school level, and ICT teacher grants. And next presentation was made by ADCU Makwanpur. The highlighted points were coordination with province and local levels, in school merging, teacher mentoring, exam management, and NASA test, monitoring and supervision, training in SAS, job induction, curriculum implementation, etc. And after that, this sharing session was followed by a lunch break, which was by CDC, DG, and officials. It was about sharing of cross-cutting and cross-sectoral issues. The highlighted points were major initiatives in student assessment, major initiatives in curriculum development, initiatives for teacher support, initiatives for supporting students' foundational learning and numeracy, and other initiatives made. And after that presentation, NEB continued his presentation. The highlighted points were NEB at a glance, result status of grade 10 and 11, and DLI achievements. And he made some challenges highlights here that were capacity buildings in staffs and teacher, update legal provisions, and service delivery, that was human resource, system development, and data security. After that, NASA sharing, NASA, NAN, and ELDS sharing was there. And highlighted points were background of the study, major findings comparisons of girls and boys, province-wise, and ethnicity-wise. And sample, he highlighted the sample selection, how sample selection were made, and the recommendations. It was the review of the short school education support sector. It was the presentation of linking of the first stage status report. And after that, NCE and AIN contribution presentation were there. First, NCE presentation, he highlighted it. NCE Nepal introduction, CSOS contributions in SESP localization, monitoring effects of CSOs, and he highlighted challenges were parents' meaningful participation in SMC PTA and resource disparate diversification in implementing local level plan. And at last, AIN presentation was there, and his highlights were AIN presence in 7 provinces, 58 districts, and 213 local levels. And he highlighted key challenges, limited resource, children's regularity and attendance, school disruption and due to disaster and protest. So these points I have already mentioned. And at last, we finally came to an end at about 5 p.m. And the meeting concluded by the chair, following by the co-chair's short remarks. And the chair concluded it with thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bhakta sir, for concretizing and highlighting the key points of yesterday's discussion. In fact, it was a very engaged discussion throughout the day, and we went a bit beyond the planned time frame as well. Now, so I feel this meeting as a kind of research study taking place, starting from a very broad discussion and coming down to the narrow point to focus on some key messages, key takeaways, some concrete future actions to be taken. I would like to request the chair of this session to facilitate the discussion that capture the main points of discussion that we had in 2 days of rigorous, intensive, and wider discussion with different stakeholders of SESP. Over to you, sir. So I request you to facilitate the discussion based on our previous presentation and the day before yesterday and yesterday's discussion. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ramesh. Again, respected Director General, DDG colleagues, focal point, co-focal and DP colleagues, and my colleagues from the ministry, colleagues from CHRD, colleagues from different departments, different agencies, NGOs, INGOs, different ministries, commissions, universities, experts, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you to today's session. Today is third day of JRM event, November 2025. And I would like to first of all thank you, Bhaktaji, for your elaborate presentation. And you gave us a fair idea about what you discussed yesterday during the whole session. And I also tried to figure out the priority and the emphasis of the discussion based on your presentation. So now I would like to request government colleagues and DP colleagues to supplement your viewpoint on the summary of discussion that we had over the past 2 days. And this summary might include the points of common concerns, the points of common interest, the points that received a lot of priorities and emphasis of the delegates around the table over the past 2 days, and the points that have inclination to take forward, right? Or the points that can give us kind of, kind of inputs so that we can identify and concretize and agree on, so that we can take that forward, and that will contribute to our reform initiation, right? During the next 6 months period of time in terms of SESP implementation. So in that case, with this background and context, I would like to request government colleagues first to supplement and to add some points if you have, and you can also, propose the contents that needs further discussion, further refinement, and further concretization, right? You can do that. You are free to do and free to present your perspectives on the summary of discussion that took place yesterday and day before yesterday. Okay, now the government colleagues first. So most probably CHRD colleagues, I'd like to ask you first, then probably the rest of the colleagues might add, and then I'll go further with the other colleagues.
Okay, thank you, respected Chair, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Co-Chair, Co-Focal, distinguished delegates from development partners, colleagues from central level agency, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and namaste everybody. As already Bhakta sir review the major key activity what we did yesterday. So really the 25th November, second day of the JRM mission 2025, we feel it's a very wonderful day for us. As CHRD being a host of that day, most of the ideas that Bhakta sir captured, however, some of the key highlights I will try to add. If this left any idea, please, our DG sir, as well as Nilkanta sir is here, they will add something. The first one, in terms of climate fund, Nevin sir, time and again, he focused on climate fund. How can we bring this fund in education sector? I think this was the agenda of next BRM2. So a little bit clearance is needed on that agenda. The second agenda or highlight of the discussion was capacity development. It includes the system colleagues. The colleagues, they are working in curriculum development center or in CHRD in training center or in local government, including human resource management. So capacity development, how can we strengthen the system with the help of capacity development? I think this theme must be one priority area for this JRM. The another major thing is how can we track the funding and reporting system of education budget in province and local level in align with the government focus on SESP, SDG as well as 16th plan that will ensure the free and compulsory education. So now it is difficult to track the budget. As our colleagues already mentioned, the provincial government as well as local government, that should be aligned. And regarding student learning achievement, we discussed in the presentation of Director General Jairam Adhikari and his entire team. So we discussed lots, and I think one system should develop. The Local Government Operational Act clearly defined the assessment of student learning under the jurisdiction of local government. So small level or the research having a small size, that should be done by local government. Large scale assessment that input our system will be better to perform by ERO or central level agencies. As Jairam sir time and again focus, the ERO system or ERO research less support the student, more support the system. So we are searching how can we support the students. Similarly, the other point of discussion that we highlight was teacher support mechanism. Colleagues from local government, provincial government, EDCU as well as central level agency, they highlighted how can we develop the teacher support mechanism. So I think this should be categorized in two parts. The first one is teacher pre-service, pre-service that should be linked with the university path. And the another is in-service teacher development that should be institutionalized. That may be we proposing a technical hub to make EDCU. And the another point of discussion was how can we strengthen the CLC in basically without the literacy campaign in order to implement national qualification framework. And our focus should be on Madhes province. Likewise, foundational learning, input focus remedial instruction, local education plan that should include how can we jointly finance in local planning, then MGML is to school restructuring, and proper use of the land of school, homegrown school feeding model. These are the, I think, some issues that we highlighted yesterday and the day before yesterday discussion. I think these are the some points. If anything to add, I would like to request our DG sir.
Thank you, sir. I have not more than 1 or 2 points. I'd like to add about tracking the budget expenditure system by SAS. It should be strengthened. Then the SAS system should be strengthened. Then boost the foundation learning by development and distribution of different kinds of digital and non-digital materials.
Rest of the other colleagues, maybe from other departments as well, like CDC or any other, like ministry. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to remind some of the key points that we discussed yesterday and the day before yesterday. So while we were listening to the findings of NAN, NASA and ELDS report, although there is some improvement in numeracy, literacy and other subjects as well, but they are not very encouraging, right? And despite many efforts done by different levels of government, so the learning outcome is not improving. One of the conclusion or one of the thing that we agreed yesterday was it was because of the poor investment in foundational learning. So we need to focus on foundational learning, and most of the people who spoke about that yesterday agreed that teacher training intervention on foundational learning should be increased. So that is one of the area that we should work on in the coming days. Either we can start working from this year, or at least from the next year we should intervene a lot in that area. And another thing that we discussed yesterday was whether it is possible or practical or not. So what we are talking about is we should send the SESP MTR recommendations to the Social Welfare Council, so that whatever NGO and INGO approach there, then Social Welfare Council will ask them to align their activities as per the recommendations of the SESP MTR, right? So once it's approved from Social Welfare Council, we can do nothing. So we should tell them that whoever comes to support education sector, their activities should be aligned with these recommendations, so that they will help us to achieve or to increase the learning outcomes. And another thing that is one of the PAP action as well, online grievance redressal mechanism will be established at CHRD, that is written there in SESP PAP action. Some preliminary work has already been started. So based on the experience of that work, it should be established at CHRD. So that's what, so most of the people agreed yesterday. Thank you, sir.
May I add a couple of points, sir? In line with what Shankar sir has just said, I would also like to highlight the discussion that was on the low achievement of the students and more input needed in the area of foundational learning. And I also rightly remember the discussion that was taking place in MTR session as well as in some other platforms, that our current teacher preparation system, I mean the pre-service system for the basic level, the foundational level, is a disciplinary system. Still we are, I mean the teaching force that comes to the basic level, they study the disciplinary subjects, and at the basic level they are dealing with all the subjects. And in order to address that kind of gap, I think when we work with the universities in service teacher preparation kind of thing, so I think we should start the discussion in that line as well. And when we are developing the training package for the basic level teachers, we should be a bit careful regarding how we can address that particular gap. So our teachers, they graduate in a particular subject, but they are teaching all the subjects at the basic level. This is one thing. And in the same foundational learning, we need to have a very clear idea and the common idea. The commonly understood idea regarding what foundational learning is in our context, and therefore it is a very important for everyone, the government and all the development partners to sit together and have a very intensive discussion and having a common understanding. And one thing I would like to highlight in that point is there is a discussion going around with regard to formative assessment kind of thing, and that is one of the idea that I think is highlighted by the MTR report as well. But my suggestion would be, instead of saying a formative assessment, if we can make it remedial instruction that is focuses on the input, I mean providing extra support to the students rather than assessing their learning. Because when we start from the assessment perspective, the focus, everyone's focus will shift to the evaluation of the learners rather than providing them a very critical input, addressing the learning gap. Almost we are doing the same thing, but I'm a bit cautious about the terminology, because we have a past experience. We say continuous assessment system, people misunderstood this one. So I understand the Brown's idea of the diffusion of innovation. Any innovative idea that is generated at the center should be well understood at the root level as well. So this is my gentle, let's say, reminder to everyone. Please, let's be a bit cautious in the use of terminology. If we say assessment, people start doing the assessment, and the instructional time that is critical will be radically reduced in the classroom. Again, the result will be counterproductive. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. Many bullets, many discussion points were captured, but I want to add some. I think these points are missing. So the inclusive learning materials in our website also. How can we develop in inclusive website, or inclusive how the people can use the inclusive learning materials? These points also strongly discussed during our today's discussion. Then another point was strengthen intergovernmental and interagency coordination. How can we develop, or how can we strengthen intergovernmental or interagency coordination mechanism? Then we have to develop so many learning materials, but it needs to be a mapping and digitalization of learning materials also discussed. And then another point was to how can we strengthen local government capacity. Then another big problem was that we have discussed the reporting mechanism. We cannot collect all the information from local level and provincial level. So how can we strengthen the reporting mechanism of SESP budget? Then another point was increase flexibility of conditional grants that we have allocated in local levels. So we need to be flexible to transfer the conditional grants into local level. Then how can we linkage the local education budget into local level education plan? That was also strongly discussed. Then develop in integration of formative assessment system. That was also discussed. I want to highlight that. Then in today's last session about the presentation of NC and AIN, we feel that there was a gap. We feeling that the gap. Then how can we fulfill that gap among all the stakeholders? Because different government and development partners also doing the same things, but the AIN and NC presentation that was not reflected in our government system. So this needs to be fulfilled to these gaps. And how can we develop the teacher accountability in students' learning? I think these points, I think that these are missing. So I just want to update that. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Most of the comments and responses are also addressed in terms of CDC. So I want to highlight just one thing in terms of teacher preparation. In terms of teacher preparation, we always see towards universities. But now what we have realized is that the basic level teacher qualification is just +2, and that is a part of CDC. So we have realized that we also need to think about preparing the teachers of basic level. So we have realized that one curriculum is needed, and we have a program of curriculum and assessment of developing that curriculum, so that would address the integrated curriculum and such aspect and foundation learning aspect in terms of teacher preparation for basic level. So we have one program even in this fiscal year. So that is to address the basic level teacher preparation initiatives. Just only to add this point. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. मलाई त नेपाली ट्रान्सलेटरको सुविधा पनि छ हैन, त्यो भएको हुनाले त्यो मौका दिइहालौँ न। थ्याङ्क यू सर। पहिलो कुरा हामीले यो स्ट्रक्चरमै म कन्फ्युज भइरहेको छु। फर इक्जाम्पल टिएससी टिचर सर्भिस कमिसनले प्राइमेरी लोवर सेकेन्ड्री र सेकेन्ड्री टिचर हायर गर्छ, तर हाम्रो स्कुल स्ट्रक्चर चाहिँ बेसिक र सेकेन्ड्री भनिन्छ। यो गभर्नमेन्टको बिचमा अर्थात् शिक्षक सेवा आयोगको बिचमा यसको स्ट्रक्चरको बारेमा अलिकति कन्फ्युज वस्तु भइरहेछ। यसलाई कसरी टाइअप गर्न सकिएला टिएससीसँग, मेरो एउटा क्वेरी त्यो रह्यो। अनि मैले अस्तिदेखि भन्दै आएको छु, वास्तवमा त्रिभुवन विश्वविद्यालयले अहिले भर्खरै ब्याचलर लेभलको पाठ्यक्रम निर्माण गर्न गइरहेको छ। अब मन्त्रालयलाई कस्तो खालको ह्युमन रिसोर्स चाहिने होला अबको 5 वर्ष 10 वर्ष 20 वर्ष पछि? मन्त्रालयले हामीलाई यस्तो खालको ह्युमन रिसोर्स चाहिन्छ भनेर युनिभर्सिटीहरूसँग टाइअप टक्क गर्ने हो भने, अनि युनिभर्सिटीले त्यसै अनुसारको ह्युमन रिसोर्स प्रोडक्सन गरेर दिन सक्थ्यो होला नि त। दोस्रो कुरा, अनि अर्को मलाई एउटा भन्नु मन लागेको चिज के हो भने, जस्तै मेडिसिनको इक्जाम मेडिकल काउन्सिलले लिन्छ, जसले लाइसेन्स दिन्छ। युनिभर्सिटीको अनि इन्जिनियरिङ अध्ययन संस्थानमा गयो भने त्यहाँ पनि काउन्सिल छ, उसैले लाइसेन्स दिन्छ। अनि शिक्षकको लाइसेन्स चाहिँ फेरि शिक्षक सेवा आयोगले दिन्छ। एउटा त्यसै अनुसारको युनिभर्सिटीहरूलाई कम्बाइन गरेर एउटा छुट्टै काउन्सिल गठन गरेर त्यो काउन्सिलको थ्रुबाट चाहिँ लाइसेन्स दिने प्रावधान राखे हुँदैन र? एउटा कुरा। दोस्रो कुरा, जसरी मेडिसिनमा डक्टरहरूलाई अर्थात् स्टाफ नर्सहरूलाई चाहिँ 6 महिना 1 वर्षको इन्टर्न कति दिने चलन छ। त्यो इन्टर्न पास गरिसकेपछि इन्टर्न गरुन्जेलसम्म उनीहरूलाई पेमेन्ट गराइन्छ। त्यस्तै शिक्षकलाई पनि हाम्रो एउटा युनिभर्सिटीको आशय के मात्रै हो भने, फाइनल इयरमा होस् या फाइनल सेमेस्टरमा होस्, 6 महिनाको इन्टर्न चाहिँ विथ पेड 6 महिनाको चाहिँ इन्टर्न गराइयो भने, अनि त्यसपछि उहिले गएर प्री सर्भिसको रूपमा प्राप्त गरेको त्यो इन्टर्नले क्वालिटी दिन सक्थ्यो कि त्यो सोच्ने हो कि भन्ने मलाई लाग्छ। र अर्को कुरा के भन्छु भने मैले जस्तो मन्त्रालय अनि त्यसपछि प्लानिङ कमिसन अनि त्यसपछि युनिभर्सिटी ग्रान्ट कमिसन र त्रिभुवन विश्वविद्यालयको बिचमा अलिकति टाई अप गर्नका लागि मन्त्रालयबाट पहल गर्नुपर्छ होला। त्यसमा कसरी कहाँ के कसको सहयोग लिनुपर्छ मलाई थाहा त छैन, तर एउटा टाई अप गर्ने इन्भाइरोमेन्ट चाहिँ मिलाइयोस् भन्ने मेरो एउटा आग्रह फेरि पनि मैले राख्न चाहे। हस्, थ्याङ्क यू।
Sir, I would like to add a little bit with what Surya sir has said. I fully agree with Surya sir. Thank you for giving us time, sir. I can see Surya sir, engaged in discussion throughout the session. In fact, some sort of, let's say, practical level of collaboration between the universities, the ministry system, Curriculum Development Center, CSRD is highly essential, and I can see there is a high level of representation of the university professors in the Curriculum Development Center, because the subject committees are headed by the professors, usually university professors. But if we can also have a system where there is a representation of ministry system in a way in the curriculum committees of the ministries as well, I mean the universities as well, it would be a kind of a good link between what is needed in fact, right? So in some situation we engage in some sort of blame game. So who is to start the coordination process? It is a bit critical, you see. So sometimes the ministry blame the university, and sometimes the universities blame the ministry system for not being a bit proactive in this sort of collaboration, coordination sort of thing. So if we can engage in that kind of dialogue, and the university teacher preparation system should also address the what kind of teacher force is really needed in the school system. For example, the government has started the integrated curriculum sort of thing in the basic grade, but my question, have the university started this kind of courses in the university? So university should be the pioneer of innovation and that preparation of the human resource definitely. But now we should start working very closely. Thank you, sir.
One more colleague. I do have my speaker here. Thank you. One colleague from a library, and I think library, Adhikariji, Premji, you can also share your ideas about how can we reach out to the schools by bringing learning resources to the students through the library system, right? So if we have any space to utilize your resources for the benefit of students, I think that also can be something that we can discuss further and find some, ways out to the solution. All right, your ideas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you this opportunity for me. I always in the favor of library and information sections should be established in each schools, and it should be linked with DPH. Yeah, it's my always this agenda. And in the context of Nepal now, we are starting digital library systems. Like one milestone is learning Chautare. Learning portals from CHRD, and obviously for the more information, more knowledge, and make competitive students, we should focus on library. Yeah, that's why there is the needs of, because library links with digital literacy, computer literacies, and information literacies too. If we neglect this agenda, and if we do not be serious in this agenda. Yeah, it is difficult to make our student competitive student in the clubs. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. मैले तेस्रो दिन हो आज आदरणीय प्रमुखज्यू सबैलाई नमस्कार गर्न एकमुष्टमा मैले चाहिँ यो कार्यक्रमहरूको सिलसिलामा अब सबै कुराहरू त सुनिराखेको छ यो टिचर ट्रेनिङको टिपिडीको कोर्समा चाहिँ खास गरेर यो ब्याचलर लेभल र मास्टर लेभलको जुन शिक्षा शास्त्रको छ नि त्यसमा प्रयोगात्मक अभ्यासको चाहिँ यो ड्युरेसन अलि बढाउनुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ कतै 45 दिनको मात्रै रहेछ कुनै युनिभर्सिटीमा 3 महिनाको सम्म छ यसलाई चाहिँ हामीले अब 6 महिनासम्म न्यूनतम कायम गर्न सक्यौं भने यो टिचर मेन्टरिङ कोर्स छ नि हाम्रो प्रोग्रामहरू टिचर मेन्टरिङ प्रोग्रामहरूलाई पनि केही त्यसलाई त्यो मोडललाई पनि अर्कोतिर डाइभर्ट गर्न सकिन्थ्यो कि जस्तो लाग्छ प्रयोगात्मक अभ्यास कम भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि हाम्रो टिचरको यो जुन प्रवेश बिन्दुमै काहीँ समस्याहरू देखिराखेको अवस्थाहरू छ एउटा अनि अर्को बडो चिन्ता गर्नुभएको थियो हिजो धेरै सरहरूले कर्णालीको हाम्रो लर्निङ अचिभमेन्टहरू पर्फर्मेन्सहरू एकदम कमजोर छ भनेको छ तर औसत आयु त कर्णालीका मान्छेको बढी छ नि केलाई पर्फर्मेन्स मान्ने भन्ने मेरो जिज्ञासा यति हो थ्याङ्क यू अवसर दिनुभयो
Now it's your turn, and it is up to you to choose the, way of, sharing your ideas. Maybe collective or one by one, whatever. Anuj.
Thank you. First of all, I think it will be difficult to add additional points to all the very valid points already raised by government. You've really paid attention, took notes, and did your homework. This is very clear. So, but we will try our best to see if there are points where we would like to add something. Maybe before we do that, I would like to ask the colleagues, on Monday there was a meeting between the Honourable Minister and the heads of agencies, and some priority points given by the Minister but also by the heads of agencies were discussed there. So maybe it's also nice to share a little bit from our side, and then the government colleagues who were present during the meeting, if we have forgotten any points. I would like to invite Annemieke Norway, and then other colleagues, please, if there are additional points, please come in. Thank you.
Thank you, Anouk. Thank you, Chair, Co-Chair, respected government officials and colleagues. I think it was an interesting session with Honourable Minister Dr. Mahavir Pun because we know how passionate he is towards enhancing learning for children of Nepal. It is not the first time that he's advocating for learning outcomes for the children in Nepal. His focus was particularly on local and global market and how can we develop children into the global and local market. So therefore the session was filled with a lot of experiences, lessons learned and plans ahead. The Minister expressed appreciation for the 10% contribution from the development partners, noting its significant role in improving learning outcomes for children in Nepal. And some of the highlights amidst his remarks were on improving local governance, teachers' performance, foundational and digital learning. So I'm just giving a synopsis of some of the highlights he've mentioned. He did reflect positively on the impact of early childhood education development centers along with midday meals, and he emphasized how these initiatives have helped young children to attend schools regularly, contribute to enhance the development for learning readiness, and ensure a smoother transition to grade 1. On teacher development and management, he reiterated the importance of strengthening teacher competencies and highlighted the role of government, particularly local governments, in tracking school performance with an inclusive lens that considers both student outcomes but also teacher effectiveness. He mentioned and shared a lot on the feedback from local levels, ranging from teachers, community members, to even government officials, which clearly indicated the need for stronger intersectoral governance and coordination mechanisms. He shared his commitment to enhancing digital learning in schools so that students can become global learners, while also acknowledging the current gap in computer teachers and prioritizing efforts to ensure at least one computer teacher per secondary school during his tenure. And finally, he emphasized the need to strengthen the head teachers, particularly in leadership and school management, as a critical component for improving education quality and accountability. The main highlight from his remarks, which we can agree, is that despite challenges yet to achieve to ensure higher or positive learning outcomes, Nepal has come a long way in the education sector, and that is something we can collectively be proud of, and he urged for the continued support for education from the development partners as well. Thank you. Asking other colleagues to maybe add on if I missed anything.
Just one additional point. Anamika did a very good job of summarizing. Minister did make a note of the IEMIS that we have in the school education system and how robust and good it is in terms of getting data. And that actually he had recommended University Grants Commission to work on establishing something similar for higher education, which we currently don't have. So just wanted to highlight that as well, because this is a joint effort in terms of the work we have put in.
MI system.
MI system for higher education.
Okay,
yes.
within the university system. Yes. That's good.
No, so I think we can also put a few lines in the 8th memoir on this. Colleagues, any other points to add to the points that government colleagues have already made concerning day 1 and day 2 discussions? Thank you.
Just to build on what Mahendraji and I think Rameshji was saying, linking it also to the local education planning on the learning assessment, right? So is there a way, yesterday, I think what Shankarji said, like we saw the outcome data and it's clear that we need something very visible, very specific, also in the 8 memoir to make it clear that we're very serious about this, I think. Is it possible for the government to look into to something where we can combine the relaxing of conditionalities of federal grants with the local education planning, with learning assessments, not imposing on instructional time, as Ramesh was saying, so that we could think of a way that we could incentivize local governments to incorporate in their education plans ambitions to undertake learning assessments and report them back, so that we have more real-time data on seeing what is happening in terms of learning, as we also know that the large-scale assessment won't take place for quite some time, and that we're heading into our last year. So something around learning, strengthening learning assessments, combining it with maybe grants that can go to local governments to be part of their local, to incentivize them for the implementation of their local education plans, would be something that would look really good in the APMR and would be really helpful in, I think, expediting children's learning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. Basically, I have 5 points, maybe as an area of concern or areas of attention or areas of action. Regarding key performance indicators, there are a couple of indicators as very good progress. However, a couple of areas are still lacking behind, even in the baseline data is 2021. Let's take an example of repetition rate in the grade 1 and the basic education. These are behind the baseline data of 2021. So maybe one of the action point for us to, let's explore the region behind, some like a qualitative information I think this key performance indicators need some like a qualitative backup information so that it's help us to take a further action. Second, regarding this digital learning, my experiences while discussing with the Education Training Center, one already highlighted by Neelkanta sir about the conceptual clarity. Second is always raise the concern about the availability of trained person at the province and the local level. It's not only the training, this is also required to the mentoring and coaching support. This is relatively new area, so we need to have some like a concrete plan about how to provide support or ensure the trained human resources to provide the training to the teacher so that teacher can implement at the school level, including mentoring and coaching support. Maybe we can plan for the virtual or some mechanism we can think. Third area, I just like to add on what Jimmy G mentioned about the local level planning. That's very good things are happening from the connection between federal to local level. However, I also raised this point yesterday as well. I think our exercise from here to little bit like a analysis, what are the common concern or the common issues comes into local level planning across the different geography. That's linked with the this program implementation procedure. While we prepare the conditional budget and plan from the federal level, let's try to link with the local level priority so that local governments also feel they benefited from the conditional fund. Fifth area is basically foundational learning part. Thank you so much. This is a really great points came in this discussion. Even though we have been raising this concern from the different meeting, maybe we need to have a clarity in the 2 points. Is foundational learning means one is the ECD also come, is the ready to learn, how to prepare the children from the ECD they can like able to like take the course for the grade 1. So maybe ready to learn is the one component, and second is the grade 1 to 3 is the foundational learning part. We have already ready to learn. It's standard proven package. Maybe we have already shared with the CSRD, and very happy to share about those nationally adapted, nationally tested package for the ready to learn. There's help to the foundational learning. Regarding this minister concern about this leadership and management skills or leadership and management system in the head teacher or the school management committee, there is also tested model, school leadership and management, a couple of things in the Karnali province. We are happy to share with the government and the development partners. Maybe we can adapt those already tested in the context of Nepal. One more point, just for the clarity, what Shankar sir mentioned about how to align the NGOs and INGOs work with the government priority. From my side, there is already system, but how from the ministry side, how we can be little bit like a proactive and systematic. Let's just like actually, I'm part of this whole process as a representing INGO. When prepare any proposal or to submit the Social Welfare Council, there is the provision, Social Welfare Council send the document to each line ministry. If the project is the education, it's come to the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. And if project is related to health, it goes to the Ministry of Health and Population. So there is already provision, Social Welfare Council, through the Ministry of Women, Children and Senior Citizen at INGOs and NGOs, Ministry of Women, Children and Senior Citizen as the line ministry. They are taking the whole about this whole work Social Welfare Council. So the documents comes to the ministry, then our role from the ministry side, look at the document, whether the proposal or the program submitted by any INGOs aligned with the government priority or not. Maybe that's its government needs to be provide the written letter. Okay, this is the priority of the government. This is very much aligned, or these are the things are not like a alignment. So there is already provision. Let's try our best to utilize this platform so that NGOs, INGOs programs are very much aligned with the government. I think that's all from my side. And just one more, this climate and education related fund. This ongoing project of UNICEF and UNESCO supported from the RNE, and this GP project from UNESCO and Save the Children. I see there are already couple of opportunity. There are already a plan of action. Let's work together how to best utilize those already platform and then pave the road for the future funding in the climate education. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, and congratulations again to CHRD and ministry colleagues. You've come very well prepared this morning with some excellent points and reflections, and all very good. I think just to note also, when we met with the minister, he did highlight also, and I think Anamika, you touched on this, but the skills, innovations, employability, entrepreneurship linkage, which is a real big priority for him, also in relation to addressing some of the concerns from Gen Z. And I know this is an ongoing discussion post-Gen Z, and so something we should definitely highlight, how to make the system more responsive to needs of young people, for sure. The point on climate financing, so I think it's a good point, Lakshmi, you had raised there in terms of some of the ongoing work. So there's a lot of groundwork that's been done, but I think what we're seeing, Mahendra sir, specifically to your point, the bottleneck is the funding proposals from government to the global financing instruments under GCF. So, for example, we have been informed that the loss and damage fund, and don't say damage and loss fund, I've been told to call it loss and damage fund because damage and loss is what the World Bank uses apparently, and loss and damage is what GCF is using. So I'm just clarifying. I understand it's a very important point. But the main point is that they have announced that they will be receiving program proposal submissions. They're opening the proposal portal. I think it's on the 5th or the 15th of December. I'll double check. But we've also been informed that parallel to that, the MOFI, which is the focal point from the government side, is working with AEPC, I think it is, which is the accredited institute agency for GCF. And so they're the pen holders of the proposal writing from the government side. And what we've seen is consistently they exclude education from their proposal. So with Shiva, so we had a discussion about this previously, and I think the more diplomatic summary would be the education sector needs to see investments. Otherwise, the return on our time invested in doing all of these things that you referred to, Lakshmi, are not generating returns for the sector to support the ministry, implement all these great initiatives moving forward. So I think we need to have that discussion then with MOFI on how to ensure that the Ministry of Education is in those proposals so that the work that's being done around NDC 3, for example, is actually captured and makes it to the table for consideration, particularly around the adaptation and loss and damage fund window. So that would be that point. And I think we have noted this in a more succinct version than I just said in the aide memoir. And we will double check on that. Just wanted to note also on the learning outcomes. So I think colleagues have all noted, and again, the minister and everyone has pointed to the critical importance of addressing this issue. Certainly from the government side, everyone is recognizing this. And I think it goes beyond just the point at this stage of we're noting that learning is a problem. I think now we're going in the direction of we're going to actually take concrete action which is absolutely critical, and I think that's being reflected in the aid memoir, both and also in the MTR SESP aid memoir revision note. But to note a couple of things. So it's not all doom and gloom, by the way. I mean, I think from the data that was shown yesterday from ERO, ECE has actually shown improvement. So there are some positive things happening there. And I hope that is captured in the aid memoir. I know we left a note on this, but I think we need to balance the pessimism with the good things that are happening as well. And so with ECE, we've seen in terms of children who are developmentally on track, a 7% increase over a period of 1 year. That's exceptional in any context. So I think we need to learn from that, see how we can further scale that with the government collectively. We did, however, note some issues with the data that we continue to have concerns about in terms of, its reliability or its accuracy in terms of the proportion of children who are meeting proficiency levels, which doesn't align with the data from the mix survey that's just been completed with the National Statistics Office that UNICEF has done. So, there's a big discrepancy there, but there's also some similarity in terms of stagnation. And so I think, one of the aid memoir actions that we've proposed, also following up on this work we've done with the World Bank, is to have a deeper dive on these different data sources, look at how this work is being done, and also provide some dedicated additional technical support to the ministry to help, and CHRD to help move this forward. And I hope that is captured so we can get some more consistent reporting moving forward. But having said that, irrespective of the discrepancies in some of the numbers, the message is still there's some level of stagnation, even though you see some small improvements. I think the other point I would only note on this is the National Statistics Office data from the mix is also showing a nuanced story that didn't come out in yesterday's discussions. And that's a lingering impact on learning outcomes for children at grade 8 who've actually experienced some reversals. And that data would potentially suggest to us that our strategies for real support, recovery of education and learning loss, potentially have been mistargeted, because we've been targeting those towards grade 2, 3, 4, but the cohort of learners who were most impacted were in grade 3, 4 at that time. And so this is something maybe we can reflect on as well. Moving forward as part of this discussion we hope to have together with the World Bank and ER moving forward. The digitization, I think that's great, and I think colleagues have already noted on this extensively, but and we have committed to CHRD to work on supporting this as well. But I think one of the things that did come out also in the MTR SESP revision workshop was the need to strengthen the mechanisms at local levels as well. And I think that's a good observation in terms of the structures at local level to support teacher training and so on. But I think the digitization needs to be linked to that system, those system mechanisms. Otherwise, those resources by themselves don't really solve problems as much as they would otherwise. And so I think the discussion on what the strategy moving forward should be holistic, in the sense of the digitized resources need to be linked to whether they're the provincial education teacher training centers or they're the more local level and the trainers, like a holistic approach moving forward. And again, we're happy to help that. And then just the very last one, I know with the non-formal education, we're doing some incredibly exciting work there with CHRD. And I know a number of different partners are coalescing around that work. But really, from the side that we've spoken about is how to support out-of-school adolescent children back to school, but then also strengthen the skills training components through the CLCs, which the CLCs already do, by the way, a lot of skills training on their own. But I think there's a lot of opportunity to strengthen what they do, and that's something that can potentially generate some meaningful results at scale, addressing a lot of the Gen Z issues that have recently been raised. So I'll stop there, but I just wanted to make sure that some of these key points were captured. And also thanking you again for just exceptional and well thought out and thoughtful comments from the Ministry and CHRD side. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now, Annette from Norway. Yeah, thank you, madam.
I'll take Ingette. Namaskar, good morning, colleagues, chair, co-chair, government officials. So firstly, we would like to thank everyone for very insightful, open, and not to mention inclusive discussions and dialogues over the past couple of days, both at the very detailed technical level, but also overarching and strategic. These exchanges have provided valuable perspectives and reaffirmed our shared commitment to strengthening the education sector. And as already mentioned by Anouk, we would also like to commend government colleagues for very solid and to-the-point reflections from the past couple of days. So we have 3 main points of reflection, that we would like to share with you this morning. These relate to learning outcomes, governance and coordination, and harmonization of approaches and interventions. So firstly, on learning outcomes, echoing Shankar sir and other colleagues, one major point that has come across time and again during our discussions is the challenge of improving learning outcomes and the disparities that continue to affect the most marginalized children. As highlighted yesterday and as previously noted this morning, this remains a significant challenge, particularly in grades 3, 8 and 10, and especially in Madej, Karnali, and Sudur Pashim, despite huge collective efforts from both government and development partners. Evidence shows that early childhood development programs are highly effective in improving access and continuity of learning for young children, as also reiterated by Honorable Minister Dr. Mahabir. And coupled with the provision of midday meals, these programs lay a strong foundation for continued learning. And learning outcomes in terms of assessments has been discussed in detail, yet teacher shortage remains a key challenge, and the fact that only 21% of schools have adequate subject teachers for grade 9 and 10 re-emphasizes the urgent attention needed to teacher recruitment, training, and retention strategies. These findings call for a renewed focus on foundational learning and targeted interventions at critical stages to ensure that learning development and performance can be tracked and assessed from the foundation. We would also like to reiterate the importance of applying an intersectional lens. And we very much agree with Ramesh sir's point that we need to have an agreed approach to what foundational learning really constitutes. It is high time that we ensure that all of the 6 minimum enabling conditions for ECED are met, and the question that we need to ask ourselves is, what can we do together more effectively to achieve this? Secondly, on governance and coordination, we note that multi-sectoral coordination and governance is a systemic challenge, and we understand that this also affects the education sector. Recurring financial concerns, such as those concerning midday meal programs, as were highlighted yesterday, need to be carefully reflected in planning and implementation. We also need to underline the importance of continuing to prioritizing both adequate budget allocation and efficient utilization. This is critical for achieving the sector's objectives and ensuring that resources reach where they are needed the most. Similarly, developmental readiness reiterates the need for strong multi-sectoral coordination and mechanisms to ensure holistic child development. Education cannot work in isolation. Health, nutrition, and protection must go hand in hand. We also noted commend the presence of academia in the review meeting. It was very insightful, especially on enhancing academia policy and implementation coordination for better informed teaching and learning practices. Thirdly, on harmonization of approaches and interventions, it was very encouraging to have an open dialogue to reflect on the positive impacts that harmonization of approaches like the local education plan and the real plan can have for sustained efforts. We also very much appreciated the remarks made by civil society colleagues. As we all know, a diverse and vibrant civil society is vital to any democracy. They are often the ears on the ground and help give citizens a voice, bring transparency, and ensuring that duty bearers deliver on their commitments. And as you probably all know, Norway is a firm believer that development must be locally led. Local ownership, participation, and accountability are the foundation for sustainable and lasting progress. And echoing on yesterday's sessions, we would like to encourage AIN and civil society organizations to convene again for better alignment and collaboration, as it is also not always clear to what extent this work complements on government priorities and plans. And strengthening this alignment will help ensure that efforts complement each other and deliver maximum impact for children and communities. Lastly, I'll be done very soon. As this joint review meeting has not only allowed us to review progress and results, it has also proved to be a very good opportunity to look ahead. And as such, for the future, we would like to encourage that we try to go beyond activities and outputs to reflect the broader implications and long-term impact of our collective efforts on the education system and the lives of children. This way, the JRM can be a valuable platform to strengthen the partnership, align priorities, and accelerate action towards our shared goals. And as always, thank you so much for your commitment and collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Now, Shivani ji. Yeah.
Thank you, Shiva sir, and all the colleagues from CHRD for being so well prepared, much more well prepared than myself this morning. But no, thank you so much. My comments are going to be slightly more overarching and future focused for two reasons. One, as I touched upon yesterday, we are a relatively young member to the SWAP, and it feels uncharacteristic as an agency to, make nitty-gritty criticisms on what hasn't worked, especially as we haven't even yet dispersed our first tranche of payments. So just keeping that in mind, now that we do have this seat on the table, the reflections are a little bit broad and future focused. So one of the things that the former secretary had mentioned at the Education World Forum was that we're not in an era of change, but we're in the change of an era. He said this in Nepali, and I translated it in English, but it felt, I had that at the back of my mind when throughout the last 2 or 3 days when we were having a conversation, because on the one hand, we were, we have commendably resumed business as usual, and we are here back at the ministry having these conversations. But I think we all have a few underlying tensions, right? One is obviously we are all concerned about the political situation in Nepal. Will there be more learning losses related to that? How will we recover? And we are already concerned about being behind on some of our learning outcome goals, even though this is a decade where we will need to act quickly and fast given how the context is changing relating to education as far as AI is concerned. We do have, it does feel like we do have to pick up our speed on some of the things, right? There's that, and then there's also this broader thing, not unsaid, but definitely that we do need to keep in our mind, that Nepal, a country like Nepal, like a lot of other LMIC contexts, and with the impending LDC graduation, will become ineligible for traditional aid and grant modalities, right? And this is not in any way said in a power over a fear-mongering context. It cannot be said for a country that takes care and leads with 90% of its own financing. But we do have to think about it and make it a part of this conversation because as far as I understand, you do value us on this side of the table for our technical expertise, right? It's not just, it cannot just be about the budgets because as I said, you are taking care and leading on with your own financing for the most part. So we do have to think about what does the next, as we think, and maybe this is leading on to the conversation that we'll have after this session, but we do need to think about how do we align our technical expertise more and more with your priorities, as you already mentioned yesterday, but also what does this, what would you as government like for the swap to be in the next round of the SESP? I do think we need to have that conversation already. And related to that, I think Nevin already touched on the climate financing, so I had a few points on that, but he already touched on it, so I'll leave that. But similarly, I think as the government of Nepal, we do need to think a little bit more about where we can leverage innovative financing and additional financing that are not in the traditional aid grant sort of modality. So this year, the UK is a founding member and the largest investor to the International Finance Facility for Education, IFED, and ADB is our main MDB partner for that. So I supported our colleagues in Manila with the investment cases for a few of the first few IFED investment cases. And it is quite a unique modality because for every £1 of ODA, you can leverage £7 of additional funding and financing. So it's particularly designed for LMIC contexts like Nepal, right? And when I was supporting with the investment cases and reporting mechanism for that, one of the points that I brought up was, why was Nepal not considered for this? But Nepal may be considered for this, for the second round of these investment cases. So my sincere request is we have a lot of good leadership and charismatic leadership in the Ministry of Education in Nepal. We should make good use of that. And as we go, not we, but as you go to these very important and relevant international forums, like the event that will be happening the first week of December in Manila, that we do keep our eyes on the prize for the next round of SESP funding, which will require this sort of innovative financing mechanisms. Thank you.
Shivani-ji, thank you for taking us to a very broader sort of perspective in terms of exploring additional finance and also for looking at different issues which might not have been adequately addressed and thought of. With this, now probably Vishnu Karki sir, I think now you are prepared to say something to us, right? So if it is so, then you are most welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm not going to make comments, but rather observation of what is coming through different speakers today, some yesterday, and day before yesterday. Actually, we are in the JRM, so basically we have got to acknowledge the progress, achievement, and then also areas that we could not. But at the same time, I'm also seeing lots of aspirations for new initiative. And also I'm seeing some of the urge to improve the management, coordination, and reporting mechanism. So I would lump all these into three things. One is about improving the business as usual, because we cannot all of a sudden stop the business as usual and go away, a different way, because we have to continue for some time. So to acknowledge the progress and also to identify areas to improve should, I believe, be the first club of recommendation coming from our colleagues, coming from DPs, should come into the aid memo. And this is also part of the kind of suggestion for the aid memo team to work on. Second is to also acknowledge going beyond business as usual, because we have seen lots of reflection coming from the minister, coming from the development partner groups, coming from our colleagues. For example, the foundation learning appears to be one of the highly rated area to jump in, and also is the need for the country. Similarly, what is also, I think, missing here is a focus to shift on secondary education. Because that is, I feel personally, and I also hear from some of the colleagues to prioritize that area, we have a serious problem in that particular area, secondary education. And if we don't do, then actually we'll have always that bottleneck limiting us focusing on basic education. We have achieved a lot, but still we have got to achieve more within basic education, but we cannot leave behind the secondary education, because that is where most of the reflection coming from minister about the skills, employability, and everything lies, because that is the area where they can learn the skill and employability and income. Similarly, teacher management now comes to at a major concern to everybody, because in one hand we have surplus teacher, and in the other hand we have to improve their capacity, quality, relevance, and then also in terms of workload, we need to redesign a system to make them more effective. So that's the third area I've drawn from the reflection today and yesterday. And fourth is, of course, capacity building. I'm talking about capacity building beyond teacher training, capacity building of the system, the governments, the mechanism that we have. Because we did that back in 1992, 93. We had a massive capacity building program implemented in the country, whereby many of our colleagues now, they receive different type of training, including short and long-term training, academic courses, professional courses. And because of that, I see a lot of our friends and colleagues here are capable of, making a good presentation and then good presence in these meetings. So I believe that is still valid at this time because we have now a new system, we have new colleagues in the system, so that has to be somehow implemented in the course of next few months or years. Now the third area, I have clubbed everything into three areas. The third area is about governance, coordination, and management. Now we have got to move beyond rituals. Some of the activities have actually consumed more time of our senior colleagues than actually they would have done other way around to respond to the needs from the district schools and so many things. So let's make a very smart way to represent and to communicate and to make participation more meaningful and focused on key areas rather than having. I'm not against the number of meetings we have had through TWGs, TCs, and all that, but my concern and receiving the reflection, how can we make that more smart and focused on something like climate change, like disaster, like learning improvement, like improvement of a school environment, learning environment. Because these are the key areas where also need, as Sivaniji said, we also need technical expertise because we don't have a lot of experience and expertise in some of those areas. So intensive discussion and dialogue focused on key areas makes more meaningful rather than jumping into more regular day-to-day sort of activities and just for the sake of participation, we make participation. So these are the three, major areas, major themes that I could come up and club all the reflection and comments that we received here. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, sir. Now I think okay. So I think we have member secretary of Teacher Service Commission with us. So I think he will have definitely, something to share with us at this stage. So I would like to request Chandrakant Pusal, member secretary TSC, for his brief, words. And we are at almost the concluding stage, so it can be concluding remarks or your concluding words as well. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Respected Chair, Co-Chair, and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude on behalf of myself, as well as on behalf of Teacher Service Commission for providing me this opportunity. I don't have very much to say. I wanted to learn very much from this JRM, but because of technical reasons, I couldn't join the meetings of day before yesterday, means afternoon meetings of day before yesterday, and all the meetings of yesterday as well. That's why I don't have much to say. But what I have observed means during this meeting from the reflections of different stakeholders, what I would like to say is, means this gathering, this JRM has been very much beneficial for bringing the voices of the concerned stakeholders. I saw many different stakeholders in the initial inauguration session, as well as means during the session, during this session as well. I think this program means this JRM is very much beneficial for that. I think this will be beneficial for fulfilling the aspiration of prosperous Nepal, FP Nepali. That is one of the visions, means that is the vision of SESP, because it is the joint review meeting of basically of SESP. Then what I'd like to say is, means during this session, means I didn't have much time to listen all the reflections and means reflections, stories and perspectives. But what I listened is, means this is very means different stakeholders have presented very praiseworthy words. That could be very much helpful for making our education system, school education system, more effective to enhance the learning of school children. Saying this, I'm always in touch. I would like to say this. I would again like to thank the ministry as well as the CEHRD for providing me this opportunity. Thank you once again, and I would like to express my best wishes for the successful completion of this JRM as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Secretary. Now I think before I speak, you might have some words to speak. Almost covered. Almost covered. Yeah.
Lunch will be here in 5 minutes.
In 5 minutes. Okay.
Speak for at least 5 minutes.
At least 5 minutes. That's good. Thank you, colleagues. I see this session has been transformed to a kind of capacity building forum as well. So I see in the capacity of our colleagues, the enthusiasm our colleagues, you see, they are gradually becoming so systematic and so innovative in terms of sharing their ideas, and they have been outspoken as well. And at the same time, we can see the extent of engagement of our colleagues in the operational system or in the implementation of SESP. You see, you can fairly sense the whole, the spirit, the whole, the effort and their preparedness in thinking about, doing better. And they are also full of so many noble ideas, interesting ideas, in terms of how can we make the whole effort very effective and efficient in the days to come. So I do appreciate your ideas, your feeling, and your sense and spirit, colleagues. I should say at this stage, I'm very proud of having people like you in the ministry system. And at the same time, DP colleagues, you see, as usual, I used to say in the forum like this that your level of deep dive and the engagement in understanding about how the whole thing is going about, right? So it is wonderful, and it is exceptional as well. Since we being having experience of 30 years in the system, you see, sometimes we cannot see the things from the perspective that you have at the moment, right? So in that case, your, understanding your study and your keen interest and concern with the whole education system in general and the SESP in particular, or school sector in particular, you see, this is commendable, and this is something that we have to learn a lot from your side as well. Now, talking about business and our next assignment. So at MEMOIR team, I think we heard and we took a note of those points, common points, and the points of common, common interest and concern, and also the priority of our colleagues, you see. And I see those those points are very much valid for us to take forward. So, AdMemoir team, which is joint AdMemoir team, I would like to request you to compile them and to define the ideas expressed through those points and acknowledge those ideas in the AdMemoir, right? That is one very important, direction and also instruction to us, based on the understanding of the spirit of stakeholders and the people around the table over the past 2 days. You see, we have to acknowledge and we have to summarize the concept, the thinking, the argument they have presented in the meeting. You see, that will definitely give justice to them, and also that will be a very good point of acknowledging their presence in the whole course. So in that case, we might have to look for some space and paragraphs to acknowledge those points, right, in the AdMemoir. This is one part. And the another part of our assignment is basically, let's think about concretizing the action points. We have to understand the point of time we stay in terms of implementation of SESP. We have recently completed MTR exercise. Now this is JRM, right? And we are heading towards BRM, and basically also the process of preparing AWPB for the next fiscal year, and which is the last fiscal year for SESP implementation, right? And now we are on the way of implementing 4th years of AWPB, and we are not in a position to introduce any new activities that require budget, right? At the same time, we are preparing AWPB before another JRM, right? In that case, we can give some space in this AdMemoir that will guide us while preparing AWPB for the next year or for the final year of SESP. So in that case, this AdMemoir or JRM also can be very much, instrumental to become futuristic and reformistic in terms of proposing agenda for reform, right? So I think we can agree on a couple of points which will have inclination towards reform and improvements in the days to come, in the years to come, in this AdMemoir. So for that purpose, I would like to highlight a couple of points here. Though we have already received so many points from the colleagues, and we will definitely summarize them and also put fleshing and language to those points based on their spirit and sense, and their emphasis on the idea they presented, right? So now the couple of points that I would like to highlight, and I think I would like you to pick up those in the AdMemoir. The space-wise, the section-wise, I'm not pretty sure about where we can adjust the points that I'm highlighting here, but at least we have to give some space to the AdMemoir as well, right? So first of all, the school infrastructure. The school infrastructure part is, this is not something which goes automatically. We have to put extra effort in the school infrastructure development domain. And so far what we have completed or what we have undertaken in terms of school infrastructure development is almost clear to all of us. 14 districts, they had much intensive attention from the government, and they have received a lot of resources to build or to reconstruct the school building, and now in terms of physical facilities, in terms of school building facilities, the 14 districts are almost enough and almost at the saturated point, right? And rest of the districts. What about the engineering need assessment or need assessment of damages or need assessment of requirement of rest of other schools? Though we are covering, quite a few districts in the west that are selected after the Jajarkot earthquake, right? We are doing some reconstruction of schools in probably 5 districts after Jajarkot earthquake, right? So, and rest of other districts again. 14 districts, maybe 5 districts, 5 or how many districts after earthquake, Jajarkot earthquake? In that project, Shankarji, how many schools have been, districts have been covered? Jajarkot, 3 districts. No, altogether 15 districts were intensively 2 districts, Jajarkot and Rukum West, and also Bajang, 3 districts, I guess, right? Okay, now 3 districts they are receiving intensive, intervention in terms of school construction. The projects are going on, right? And the permanent and semi-permanent buildings are being built and constructed. That is there, and rest of other districts, I think we have to have some sort of, the kind of step and actions to at least within this period, within the next 6-month period of time, right, go into the detailed assessment of requirement of physical infrastructure development in those schools. We can make use of our system, like image system. We can make use of any available system to do a complete survey of the physical needs of the schools, right? So, and for this purpose, we can also talk to quite a few DP colleagues as well, where some amount of resource might have been available, since they were also trying to support us in terms of assessment of physical needs in different districts, different schools earlier, right? But that has been held on. So we can make use of those potential inputs available with certain development partners as well. So and at the same time, we can also be able to have a kind of complete profile of school infrastructure needs of all schools. The schools that I refer to, right? So I think this is something that we need to build a kind of action in the memoir, and this will definitely give us kind of extra energy to go further through different rounds of consultation with the relevant DPs and other agencies. And this is the additional input to our ongoing effort, where we have been talking and we have been trying to do that based on the infrastructure, physical infrastructure development master plan, right? We have now been able to identify quite a few schools where we are putting a significant amount of money for school construction. That will also be taken as a reference in the further need assessment action and exercise, right? So this is something that I think we need to go a little bit further, and we need to little bit elaborate further. And now the another point is the Madhya province. Since I think the most urgent territory of our country, which is waiting meaningful inputs and intervention of the government or of the state or the country, is Madhya province in different spheres. If you see the development indicators of Madhya province, we can find so many areas where we can work further, and we have to put a lot of resources and effort. Among them, the literacy. Literacy, as I have been putting forward in terms of my argument, that now our Honorable Minister is very keen in doing something in Madhya province in terms of, in terms of literacy campaign, so that we can declare Madhya territory literate territory in a few months' time, right? So now the plan we have started at the ministry is we are trying to form a technical and high-level task force to do an intensive but rapid assessment on the literacy status of Madhya province. At the same time, the task force also is will be mandated to explore and suggest, propose and recommend us the pragmatic activities, list of activities, so that we can implement the literacy program, literacy classes, by mobilizing all the available, the partners, right, in the shortest possible period of time, right? Since we have a very short, the course of basic literacy program, right? So we can use that available course by mobilizing different stakeholders, different actors who are working in Madhya province, government, non-government, sometimes individual, schools, non-schools, educational units like CLC and other elements and units, right? So that committee, task force will recommend us that kind of very fast track sort of, literacy training program, and also that committee task force will provide us the clear picture of the status of literacy in all 8 districts of Madhya province, right? So this is what we are planning to do very shortly, and I think the ministry will finalize this decision in a couple of days' time. And then now our attention is required to implement this process, meaning how can we have a collaborative mechanism with the agencies working in the Madhya province, number one. Number two, how can we mobilize schools for the purpose of conducting literacy classes to the target population? And at the same time, how can we build a kind of consensus among the political actors working and active in the Madhya province as well, which is a little bit of high-level business, and that will definitely be given to the Social Development Ministry and ministers and parliamentary, and we are also trying to draw attention of Chief Minister of Madhya province, though he will not remain in any mechanism, but at least the Social Development Minister will remain and will head one mechanism of coordination among the political front, right? So those are a couple of things that we are starting very shortly, and this has become very urgent as well, and this will definitely be a very good response to the coming up the voices and aspiration from the public front, right? So I think we have to have some sort of space and a kind of potential activity in the agreed action point that we agree during the course of memoir finalization. And another is like the computer teacher position. It is largely about government decision, and at the same time, sometimes it creates kind of allergy to me, right? So sometimes I want to get this. Okay, this one. This is okay now. And now, computer teacher position. But what we need to focus on in the forum like this is what additional requirement is raised because of the introduction of new teacher position, new teacher computer science position, right? Like, if we create that position, I think it will have definitely direct implication to Curriculum Development Center. Curriculum Development Center might have to initiate some activities which is not under the approved AWPB. And that might also require some amount of money. At the same time, we are also identifying the activities for TA mobilization, right? So we can link this with this initiative on the part of Curriculum Development Center. And at the same time, the ICT infrastructure in all secondary schools. What is the actual situation and status of infrastructure, ICT infrastructure in those schools? If we introduce the teacher position, and this will become compulsory to all secondary schools, or children of secondary schools, student of secondary school. And is there sufficient infrastructure, ICT infrastructure in those schools? And this will definitely, lead us to think about new area of our engagement, right? And at the same time, the technological part, like internet bandwidth, facility of electricity, right? So there are so many, the infrastructural issues associated with this potential policy action, as emphasized by our minister, though we have already initiated this, and now we are under discussion with or negotiation with Minister of Finance for additional commitment to the fund. So, and this can be something that we need to, put in the memoir and make it visible so that our memoir is also something that address the very recent and high-level commitments of the government. And teacher training, I won't say much about teacher training, and my message to the university is, as our colleagues raised, university now is having kind of challenge, right, and having a lot of pressure from the system, education system, especially when we talk about faculty of education, university, business. So how many studies are being undertaken at the university to explore the market needs in terms of, developing teacher preparation course at the ministry? What is the need of the system? Our colleagues highlighted a couple of needs of the teacher requirement system or training requirement system. +2 graduate, +2 non-education graduates do not have any platform or any course, teacher preparation course to have access to so far. There is no teacher professional course targeted to those +2 non-education stream graduates, though they are also eligible to apply for the basic education or primary level teacher position. But they are now lacking the teacher preparation course or teacher training degree, right? And who is providing this? Nobody. No institution at all. And is not it the very good market and business for the university faculty of education? I think it is something that university might have to explore very seriously and do rounds of research, series of research, and identify the actual, potential market, and accordingly you have to be prepared with your business and the courses that you run in the university faculty of education. And the another point is definitely we request you to create a kind of a link at the university as well, which will definitely bring the ministry system and the university system together to work in future. there are so many committee mechanisms and so many formal mechanisms to develop curriculum, to discuss on different academic policies and something like that. But I think ministry is not really, included in that mechanism. Though university is everywhere, almost in different mechanism within the ministry system, as our colleague said. I think I do acknowledge and endorse the arguments made by my colleague in this particular respect, right? So I think ministry also has to do something in this area. But now what I would say at this stage with regard to university collaboration with university is ministry is looking for some space to engage in teacher preparation program, right, with the collaboration, in collaboration with university system, so that the school sector resource or the resources available for school sector will also be utilized for developing certain responsive teacher preparation courses, though that will be implemented by the universities. Meaning we are trying to reach out to the university with resources and with scheme and with policy, so that there will be a kind of very systematic avenue for partnership and collaboration between the ministry and the university. That is one part. And the another part is we have already, last year only, we have signed an agreement or MOU between Ministry of Education and SHARID with the system, with the clause that the ministry departments are principally bound to do collaboration with SHARID if they have any approved budget and program on research. Meaning any research activity that are approved for any departments should be conducted through the collaboration with SHARID, meaning Faculty of Education, Tribhuvan University, right? So this is also kind of, the scheme that we are creating to work with, university. So we are very much tempted to collaborate with university and bring in the resources and the knowledge which is available with the university at the moment. I think those are a couple of things that we have to keep in mind, and at the same time I think we have to introduce the presence of university for teacher preparation through different mechanisms like taxes and other mechanism as well, right? And we have also planned for creating teacher bank and doing a multi-subject specialization exercise under the annual approved budget assigned to CHRD, right? So with the provision of those activities, we can have a kind of elaboration and kind of actions, so that will give us a kind of clear direction to have formal collaboration with the universities, especially Tribhuvan University Faculty of Education, to be very frank. Though the other university also will come into play when there is need, right? But at least being national university, we can be very much open in the documents to have collaboration with Tribhuvan University. Though we will not exclude any other universities for collaboration. And the another point could be like school restructuring part have been already well discussed, and I think you will further elaborate in the document. And teacher support mechanism system, you might have heard a lot of arguments and concerns from the province and local level colleagues also yesterday, right? So teacher support mechanism is something that we have to look for. And we are the we are Ministry of Education. We are the people combining, different sort of, expertise from within and outside the countries, right? We have the knowledge about how can we go about and how can we create innovative and practical schemes in terms of teacher support mechanism. It is not only our responsibility to flag this issue and to just raise this issue in the forum like this and leave it and forget it. No. Now I think we should not, look to the local government and provincial government to create this system. I think it didn't happen so far, meaning there must be kind of capacity deficiency in the relevant institution. So in that case, we have to be a little bit proactive and little bit practical in terms of introducing, in terms of proposing, in terms of highlighting a system for teacher support mechanism, right? So our, the provision, our, concerns, our intervention will definitely be very much, instrumental for the local government to take further decision in future. So in that case, we need to introduce kind of practical scheme in the admin with regard to teacher support mechanism. How can we create teacher support mechanism, or how can we revive teacher support mechanism at the local level, right? So for that purpose, as I have tossed open during my opening remarks, that the non-structural scheme also can be possible. As Samartha has introduced a kind of system to provide technical support to the relevant, the project palikas and schools, right? So we can create those kind of, non-structural scheme, though which can be temporary, but that will be something to start with, and that will be something to something which can be model for palikas to replicate and to adopt in future on their own, right? So in that case, I think we have to, think about that kind of non-structural mechanism as well, meaning creating kind of pool of experts at the local level and mobilizing them to these schools, right, in a regular basis, so that the school will also be benefited, and the education unit of each of the palikas also will be strengthened in terms of additional capacity. So that would be kind of, idea to just start with in terms of introducing a new teacher support mechanism at the palika level. We want to go below the palika level. We don't go sub-palika level at the moment. We have to envision this unit be stationed at the palika. Capacity development, definitely you give, meaningful space or sizable space in the admin with regard to capacity development. Yes, we have been discussing about it. And library resources. Yes, I think now we are wealth of knowledge, having so many libraries under Ministry of Education at the moment. And library is not only targeted to the clients other than the student, other than the school students. It is not like that, to my understanding. So now we have to explore a kind of actions and activities so that we can, our library resources, our library mechanism can reach out to the schools with learning resources, online resources, with the knowledge available with us, right? How can we connect a library to the school library system, right? Or the community library system, right? So I think we should, explore kind of, activities and action to put into the admin this time. And this also can be one of the potential areas for inviting, TA support and TA interventions as well in future. So I think we have to look at this very high potential area of our engagement, and this will become very good intervention to the schools, and definitely basically to enhance the learning outcome of the students, which we talk about in any sitting or meeting like this. right? But we, at the same time, when we talk about the learning outcome, enhancing learning outcome, we also at the same time talk about and explore the new avenue or new activities, new intervention that will become useful for enhancing learning outcome in schools at any level of schooling. So with this, these are a couple of points that I would like to emphasize on. Now with this, finally, I would again repeat the same thing, that now AdMemoir colleagues, you definitely might have captured the sense and the intention and the inclination of our participants in the meeting over the past 2 days. You do capture those sense and try to put in the AdMemoir in different sections, sometimes in the acknowledgement section, which you discuss about those points, and there is another section which is agreed actions. Wherever possible, we have to integrate them into the agreed action point as well, so that we will go with further improvement and reform initiation in the future. So with this, I would like to stop there now. If not anything to announce to our colleagues, this is end of today's discussion, and this is also the last event for discussion, right, among the stakeholders in this JRM process, right? So now onward, I think we'll have lunch, and rest of AdMemoir colleagues will be free from this assignment, right? And AdMemoir colleagues will definitely, I guess, continue to work on the document. And at the same time, the midterm AdMemoir technical team is also present here. So maybe we can work in a parallel manner, the MTR AdMemoir team to give finishing touch, and also the JRM AdMemoir team, right? So after this meeting, after lunch, I would like to request technical team of MTR AdMemoir to have a very brief meeting with us, and then the JRM AdMemoir team, I request you to continue your work in whatever ways. That is up to you. You can decide your working procedure. You can work at home, or you can utilize this hall, or anywhere. This is up to you. With this, I'd like to wrap up this session and say this is the end of today's discussion process. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.